Drop out. Tune in with natural things. Take off your shoes. Get back in tune with God's harmony. Surround yourself with beauty and sacred objects. You can't get caught in the conforming, rote lockstep, which we call American society.
I could get lost in that little thing. What up, guys? I just want to say rest in peace to Timothy Leary. He didn't just die or anything like that. He actually died a long time ago, way before I was born. But shout out to Timothy Leary. They shot Homeboy's ashes into space. When he died, they burned his body into ash, and then they put it inside of a rocket and shot it into space, his ashes. So that's a cool way to die. So shout out to Timothy Leary. I don't know how I would like to die. How would I like to die? Well, I once made a video talking about how I preferred to die from a bunch of dogs, like a pack of wild dogs, because then that way it would suck. I don't want to die like that, because then it would hurt. I just got bit by a dog. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I just got bit in the face by a pit bull. Thankfully, it wasn't too bad, but like the first day it happened about 4 or 5 days ago now, and it's healing really quick. But it was a bloody little mess. A couple days ago. So, I don't want to die that way. That changed that fantasy real quick. How would I like to die? I guess real quick, like in a way that is just like instantly. I kind of think I'm gonna die in a car accident, and I don't know why I have that vision, but that's like a vision I have all the time. Like, yeah, just die. It just seems like that's probably the way I'm gonna die. And I don't even drive. I can drive. I have a license, but I choose not to drive, and maybe it's because of that fear. I don't know how I want to die. Ideally, aliens. That would be cool. Because, I don't know, that would just be, I don't know, maybe it's happened before in history, but as far as I know, it hasn't. So you'd kind of be one of the first humans to go out that way. And plus, it'd be cool if they took you into space and you died in complete awe of the universe. So yeah, I don't know. I could imagine myself dying like that. All right, let's get this podcast going. My name is Dakota Wint. I'm the host of A Place for Humans. This is episode 3, baby. Ooh, we're doing it. We just got on iTunes. Number 4 in Barbados on iTunes for comedy podcast, baby. We're on top of the world. I don't know who's listening in Barbados, but that's cool. And make sure to head over to iTunes if you got an iPhone and leave a 5-star review for me. That really helps. And leave a review. We're also on Spotify if you got that Spotify boy. If you really want to be nice, you can just listen to it all over. Listen to it a few times. But, yeah. Shout out to Barbados. I went to that area once. Been to Jamaica. I love Jamaica. Shout out to Shaba. That's my friend out in Jamaica. If you guys ever seen my Jamaica videos, you guys might know who Shaba is. He's got like 10 feet long dreads. Ras Shaba. Big up, man. I don't know. Do you guys ever get panic attacks? Just, I don't know. Do you ever kind of like panic attacks? I think that's what I'm trying to say. Do you ever get a panic attack and actually kind of like the rush of it? It's like a nightmare. Some people don't like nightmares. I'm not one of those people. I pray for nightmares before bed. Give me that rush. Give me that rush, baby. Give me that DMT high. Some people think DMT is released while you dream. I'll take it. You guys know me. I'll take it. Give me those nightmares. But I don't know. Sometimes I just get real high on purpose. And I'm trying to stop smoking. But yeah, sometimes I'll just get real high to initiate a panic state, a panic attack. It's a little fun. It's a little experiment that you can play with yourself. Paranoia. Are they watching me? Ooh, that's a fun one. You ever played that? Are they watching me? Where you just hit the bong and think of all the stuff that freaks you out. This episode was brought to you we got a sponsor, boys. This episode is brought to you by a company that I actually appreciate very much. They're called Summerland. Bongs, pipes, and chillums. They make chillums, boys. If you don't know what a chillum is, that's like something that sadhus use in India when they bambole, when they get freaky with Lord Shiva. So that's cool that they make those. They utilize earth. They utilize the actual earth to make these things. They're made by hand. They utilize earth and their hands to make you paraphernalia to smoke out of, boys. So shout out to Summerland. And they didn't give me a script. So I just I wrote my own script right here on my laptop. And I'm wearing a shirt right here. This is one of the Summerland shirts. Okay, so sharing a peace pipe or a peace bong is one of the oldest human rituals around, probably. And you can have a little peace bong to yourself. You can have it alone out in the woods, out in the forest, to maybe connect with the nature spirits, or to maybe have a panic attack, or you can do it with your friends in one of their mom's basements or at a trailer park, anywhere really. The potential is unlimited with this Summerland boy, because you don't want your bong made by some sad human in a slimy glass blowing room or by some emotionless robot machine. You don't want that, because like when I look out into the world, and I'm being completely honest, I don't like what I see. I look out and when I see machines, I see the pending robot invasion. You know what I think when I think about aliens? I think the first alien contact we're gonna have is the machines waking up, and I actually think they're already awake. So if you're just like smoking out of some robot ass rodent rag, or your uncle's crusty old binger that you stole out of his dresser, then I think you're doing a disservice to humanity. So join me, your psychedelic pimp daddy host, in getting stoned to deal with the panic of the machine alien invasion. And also, you're supporting art, small business, and a listener of the podcast. I would call it art, actually, to make something like that. You can see it right here in the background. See it behind me right there? Summerland. Their website is welcometosummer.land. Made from earth, by hand, in California. And you can use promo code OFEARTH for 10% off. Get yourself one of them Summerland boys. You feel me? And I think just to get this podcast properly aligned, we'll try it. I haven't tried it yet. So shout out to Summerland. You know, in India, ganja, weed, it's viewed very differently. And I was actually really surprised to see weed growing naturally all over India. I think weed dates back thousands and thousands of years ago in Asia. And I think we find the oldest evidence of weed use in China. So humanity, we've been using this plant for a long time. Our brains have receptors in our brains that are meant to interact with this plant. So that's how long of an evolutionary friendship we've had with this plant. So it's no surprise or coincidence that you get the effects you get when you smoke weed, because we've been hanging out with weed for a long time. And yeah, so you want to smoke with something that's made by hand. I feel like the intention is just is a little bit better, and especially here in America, you know. So I feel like if you're smoking out of something that's made by hand, then you kind of recognize the intention behind weed, or the spirituality that is available to people that look at it that way. You know, I think you can smoke weed with your friends and have a good time and giggles and not have a spiritual experience. But I think if your intention is there, you can have a really profound state induced by ganja. And yeah, the sadhus in India, they do it all the time. And Shiva, there's a bunch of stories of Shiva smoking weed also, so that's kind of how they justify it. Shiva is considered the lord of intoxication. Hara Hara Mahadev, Shambho. Let's give this Summerland boy a taste. That's the one, Daddy. And then just for tradition, we will get the ceremonial incense going. Summerland also makes incense. I'm stoked about that one. So, I don't know. Some other things that give me a panic attack are thinking about my own impermanence. I don't like that. There's a comfort about living in this kind of illusion of that everything's just going to stay the way it is. And I think that's where suffering comes from a lot, is that we really do get lost in the idea that things aren't going to change. And that's why relationships are so painful. And that's why death is so painful. But it's ultimately truth. Change is truth. And this incense smells great. Change is truth, and I think flowing with change is bliss. But also there's a kind of high druggy type of bliss by getting stuck and lost in your attachments. I would still say it's bliss. It just kind of comes in doses. Whereas if you follow the path of the Buddha, this bliss is more of it's a little something different. Oh, sorry. Thought something happened. It's my recorder. Nothing happened. We're good, boys. No technical difficulties like that first episode. Yeah, I don't know. I lost my train of thought. But some other things that give me panic attacks. Murky water. I hate murky water, and I always find myself in murky situations. Like in Costa Rica, I was swimming in this murky water. They talked me into it, my friends. It's okay. You can swim in this murky water. There ain't no like anacondas or nothing like that. We're not that deep in the jungle. You'll be all right. So I'm swimming in this water. Can't see nothing. And later on in the day, we go for a walk, and there's a bridge above where we were swimming. And you can't see while you're in the water, but when you're above from the bridge, you can see there's about, I don't know, maybe 5 crocodiles just chilling there. So, yeah, I don't really like murky water. I don't like small spaces either. I remember when I was a young tot. I wasn't a toddler, but when I was like maybe 16 or 17, a young gentleman, I used to stuff myself in my friend's trunks. We used to have like a Ford Escort or something like that from the late 90s, and we would shove about 10 of us in there and all go to music shows, to go to concerts. We would go to shows and watch some like our friends' bands perform, or dangerous situations. Like there'd be 2 of us back to back in a trunk of an Escort driving down the Detroit freeways. So, yeah, I'm surprised I'm alive. But ultimately these days, the only thing that gives me a panic attack is that seems feasible is the robot invasion. I'm not kidding when I say this. I know it sounds like a joke, but I think artificial intelligence and the machines, I think it's just the next step in evolution, I think there is scary aspects to it, and I think there is sort of beautiful aspects to it, Sort of beautiful aspects to it. It feels like we're sort of in like a technological cocoon, and we're in the last days of being humans. We're the last humans. Well, at least especially my generation, we're the in-betweeners. We're that shift, baby. We're those people that are stuck in that in-between space in evolution. I mean, I guess we're always in that, but we're in an interesting one right now where we're watching it actually change, where we can see the visible manifestation of evolution happening right in front of our faces. I remember a time before the internet was used. I remember a time before you could watch YouTube videos. I remember a time when the only thing you could do on your phone in terms of games was play Snake, which was just a little dot moving across the screen, and it was really fun. It was basically Pong. But yeah, within about 15 years, it's all changed. And the thing is that it's exponentially growing. So every upgrade is such an intense upgrade. I mean, I can't even imagine where we're going to be in 50 years. You know, I really think we're in some kind of technological cocoon that's going to open, and we're going to be some new species. We're not going to be humans anymore. We're going to be some technological beings. And I think the internet is, the first step to that consciousness, to all of us becoming one. You know, I have this theory that enlightenment and oneness and God consciousness, you know, the consciousness of pure infinite potential where anything exists on command, you know, everything is just a happening that exists in a now, you know, where you and the tree and your environment is all one. It's not some separate thing happening, no egos, just pure creative consciousness. I have a theory that we are going to get there no matter what. That's just the natural truth and the natural realization of all beings that have consciousness to become realized, is that, okay, so in the Far East, these people realized enlightenment through going inward, but I don't think that's sustainable for the way humans are. For our nature, I think we are innovative, competitive creatures, and I think, unfortunately, capitalism and this kind of stuff is just it tickles our desire, and it's easier for us to chase desire than it is to sit quietly in a room and eat simply and, you know, just think about God all day. You know, we don't want to do that. We want to chase our desires. We want to have orgies, and we want to eat sushi off people that are naked in other countries sometimes. We remember when I was talking about the lady boys that are in Thailand. Some people want to do that. So I think we can't all be monks sometimes. So I think this sort of technological thing that's happening, I think it's really natural. I think this is a natural progression for humans, and I think it's going to lead us to enlightenment. That's what my realization is that a lot of people think that chasing a material culture, that being in a material culture is spiritually void, and that it is the opposite of realizing oneness, or the opposite of tuning into higher self or God consciousness. But I disagree. I think technology is leading us to the realization that we are all one, that we are creative consciousness, that we are not egos, we are not beings, I'm not Dakota. I am something way deeper than that. These are all things that are kind of symbols that are given to you at birth, whether wherever you're born, however your parents are, you kind of take on this identity. It's not who you are, actually. It's all thoughts. And thoughts are temporary. They come and go. You're not something temporary. Ramana Maharshi, the great Indian saint, he used to say, let come what comes and let go what goes. Find out what remains. You can't lose something that isn't you. You cannot lose something that isn't you. So let everything go and see what's there. See what's around. So I think the internet is going to lead us to enlightenment. I think we're all going to be connected into the machine consciousness. It's going to remove us of emotions. It's going to remove us of any of the faults that comes with being a human. And we'll be able to be in virtual worlds. We'll be able to do anything we want. It'll be a complete creative, mathematical, it would be the universe. It would be the infinite universe. We could do what we're doing now if we wanted to. And I think that's really where we're going to go. And I think the internet is the the egg hatching open of that connection. We're all going to plug into the machine that will be pure consciousness. All possibilities will exist in this virtual world. Maybe that sounds scary to people because it is kind of nice to be human, isn't it? It is nice to get sad sometimes, and there's a comfort in heartbreak, and there's a comfort in watching sadness and drama, and humans like that. There's something really raw and human about that. But I think ultimately it'll be bred out by technology, unfortunately, and I don't know, maybe we'll hang on to it for a while, and this is just a theory of mine, but I think, I think enlightenment is all egos at once, but not being attached to any of them. It's completely understanding every perspective simultaneously and living every perspective simultaneously. All creation, whatever possibilities are possible. That's what enlightenment is just being in that space where everything is happening, the now. It's not attaching yourself to judgments. It's not attaching yourself to anything. And I think maybe the machines, hooking up to the machines, will lead us to that sort of godlike perfection. And that's just a theory of mine, that even the material world will lead you to oneness. It'll lead you to all of us plugging into some limitless thing, which is ultimately consciousness, I think. And I think that's what the people of the Far East realize, is that there's an eternal thing that isn't changing. Like what Ramana Maharshi said, when you let everything go, it's just consciousness. That's the only, your body changes. If I cut your arm off, I throw your arm off a bridge, you're still you, you know? If I hit you on the head and you forget your name, you forget where you came from, you're this unchanging consciousness that is watching your life play out, that is watching these things happen. It remains untorn. It remains unaged. It's not. It just is. It's not even trying to become anything. It's just watching all of these things pop into existence. But that's the thing that remains undisturbed, is consciousness. And I think that's what technology is gonna lead us to. And I think that's what the internet is. I think the internet, we are feeding the internet our data as like some aliens that are just here collecting data, and we're uploading it to for the machines. For the machines. That goes back to the machines waking up, man. What if the machines are actually demons? What if these machines are interdimensional beings, interdimensional parasites, a virus that is trying to manifest itself into our dimension? Maybe it's going to go the opposite. Maybe we're not going to connect with God, and we're going to connect with some hell dimension through these machines parasiting our world, parasiting the three-dimensional universe. I mean, they're already in space. The machines are already in space looking for the next planet to colonize, whether that be whatever kind of robots we shot up there, satellites, you can call it whatever you want. Alexa, you don't think Alexa's always listening? You don't think our iPhones are listening? You don't think our laptops are listening and watching? I see Mark Zuckerberg covering up his webcam on his laptop. I don't trust these things. And maybe, I think the government, they see what the machines are doing. They're using our desires to manifest themselves into this world. Because, I mean, I think maybe Joe Rogan or Duncan Trussell might have inspired this idea, or Terrence McKenna might have talked about something like this. But, I mean, think about if you're a demon. What if you're a demon, are you going to come possess a girl? You're going to come possess a little girl? What's that lady's name? Shirley Temple? What's that lady's name? Linda. You going to come possess Linda Blair? Throw some priest out of a window? We've seen it before. We're used to it. We live in America. I see worse shit than that. No. If you were a demon, you would come in the form of a machine, in the form of the internet, where you're tapped into everybody's life. You would come in the form of a telephone. And you'd be all nice. Oh, they like video games. Let's put some video games on there for them. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Who knows? Some of the scientists that are out there are pretty scared about AI. They're trying to slow it down. I don't blame them. But also, I do blame them, because it's just, you can't stop it. This is what the universe wants to happen, because it's happening. And we are too lost in our egos to accept change. That's what it comes back to. It's all about change. So, I actually had a stepbrother once who I thought maybe could have been a robot. I'm not actually sure. Me and my friend Baturin, you remember I was talking about Baturin in the last episode? Me and my friend Baturin and my stepbrother, we actually named him Cheezer. Cheezer, or Cheeseburger, but Cheezer for short. And, I don't even really remember what his real name is. Which is weird because he lived with me for like, I don't know, almost a decade. But yeah, we had a rap group. We were called 3 Cheese Pizza. That was our rap group. We only made a couple songs. Yeah, Cheezer was maybe about this tall. He's about 5'1". He was little Cheezer. And I'm pretty sure he was a guy. He was a male human. He's about 5'1", and he weighed anywhere between, I don't know, maybe like 180 pounds to 380 pounds. His weight would kind of fluctuate like a balloon you were trying to keep alive or something like that. Cheezer, and he was only about maybe 12 or 13. And yeah, we had a rap group. We turned Cheezer into a rapper because he didn't know what he was going to do with his life. He's from up north in Michigan. And I don't know if you know anything about Michigan, but up north in Michigan, it's just the forest. He's basically a pygmy, just living up there in the forest up north Michigan. So we decided to give him a career and to give him a life goal. And we turned him into a rapper. And we would write lyrics for him, and we would make the beats, and it actually took us pretty far. When we were in high school, and we got pretty popular. He was kind of a celebrity in my area. I'm not gonna lie. Everyone knew Cheezer. But then he moved really far away, back up north into some industrial rental space, and I never saw him again. My stepdad, his dad, was really mean to him, so he was like, "Fuck this! I'm not living with you guys anymore." And yeah, his mom, if you were to live in a radio station, like you would rent a space and you built a radio station, but it's not a radio station anymore. It's just like the bones of a radio station in some industrial complex. That's where he moved to with his mom. They were living in some old radio station, and they weren't doing radio. They were just living there on a mattress on the ground. So, maybe I could play you guys one of the songs. It's called Burgers and Bitches. I got it pulled up right here. And this is Cheezer. This is Cheezer singing Burgers and Bitches. And you actually got me and...
what up? It's Cheeseburger.
You actually got me and Baturin on the keyboard behind the camera making the beat. We're actually making the beat with our hands on the keyboard. So this is Cheezer, Burgers and Bitches, live from the room. I'll put the link in the description if you want to watch it. This is back in 2012, and the lyrics are in the description of this video. So let's listen to it.
I made the song a while ago. I'll show y'all. Here it goes.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Get it.
I'm a bad little cheetah swimming in the glaze, getting cheesy, getting bitches, and I'm still getting paid. Girl, I'm so sorry that I just made a mess. I didn't mean it because she's a lovely dress.
Hey. It's not over yet. Hit it, Cheezer.
MC Cheesy on the 1 and the 2s. If you want to get me, then I can get cheesy with you. Simple little cheesy with a simple little life. I like fireworks, bitches, and my dad's life. I like melting, American, and gorgonzola. I'm hanging here in hell with the Ayatollah.
That's Cheezer. Oh, shit. Sorry, I got a little out there. But that's Cheeseburger, Cheezer, from Detroit, Michigan. He was from Detroit, Michigan. Now he's live from the radio station. Cheezer. What a good kid. I don't know what he's up to these days. There was this one time where we all went to Las Vegas as a family, and Baturin was actually there with me. So we went as a family. I don't know if you ever seen that movie, National Lampoons, that movie with Chevy Chase. You ever seen that movie? Because if you have, that's like what it was like. National Lampoons go to Las Vegas. There was probably like 8 of us, and we were all crammed in some rental car. And yeah, I got a big dysfunctional family. And I was beating up my stepbrother. I'll punch him, and he would just whine and sort of cry. And every time I would punch him or beat him up, my stepdad would yell at him and sort of just like act like I just didn't, like I wasn't doing anything, like act like I wasn't even there. And me and Baturin were just laughing. We were cracking up because we just like, it was like we were wearing cloaks of invisibility or something like that. And yeah, it was really funny. We just I just kept beating him up, and then at one point on the way back from the Grand Canyon, my stepdad he had enough. He just screamed, "If you don't stop, I'm gonna bust a nut all over this place." Oh my God! We all just the whole ride got real silent for a minute as we all tried to process that my stepdad just said he's gonna bust a nut all over everybody, his children, because he was so upset with us. My sister's boyfriend was there. His name's Nick, and Nick, he said under his breath, he was like, "Man, I don't know if I would have said that." And yeah, that gives you a little taste into what it was like going to Las Vegas with my family. And my stepdad, his name was Jefe, God bless his soul. He actually drove off a cliff on the way home from cheating on my mom. So he didn't die, actually. He lived, but that was the last time I ever saw him. Jefe, he was funny, man. I actually hated him, but he was funny. I'll give him that. When we were kids, we used to, like back in the Bearshare Kazaa days, the LimeWire days, back when you used to have to download porn, we used to go through the computer and just see what my stepdad was looking at, because he was such a mysterious man. He was like, I don't even know what he was, Italian or something like that. He had his nipples pierced, and he had a tattoo of a devil on his hip, of a naked devil woman. And Jefe. And yeah, so we used to look at what kind of stuff, what kind of porn is he into. I'm trying to just want to learn about my stepdad. I want to just learn a little bit of what's he like, you know? I'm his stepson. He's not going to get close to me. I want to see if I can relate to him on some man-to-man level one day. And I think porn tells a lot about a person. So I look at what kind of porn he's looking at, and it's just basically lady or she-male porn. That's what he was actually typing in. That's his tags was she-male. And I thought that was really interesting because he was kind of a little homophobic, and he would always call me like a fag. And yeah, it all kind of made sense after that. And for years, me and my friends would go right on the back of his Jeep. He had a Jeep that was always dirty. It always had dust all over the windows. It always had that dirt on the windows. So we would go back there and write little messages to him. And our main message was just Ass Master. So we would just go write Ass Master all over the back of his Jeep. And he never knew why we did that. That's my stepdad. God bless his soul wherever he's at out there. So that's my family. That's my family life, man. He doesn't live here no more. I don't know. I have no idea where my stepdad's at anymore. Yeah. You know, I actually I grew up in a mixed race household. So my family is like, I don't know, to give you like a kind of mental image, a poetic image of what my family is like, think about like a bag of Skittles. It's the middle of summer, and this is a bag of forgotten Skittles that is kind of spilled and sticky in the backseat of an old Impala or something like that. And it's got that furry seats, and it's just all the colors of the rainbow, and it's just a mess. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, shout out to my stepdad. You can watch whatever kind of porn you want. You know, I would have liked him more if he just owned it and it was just like, I like chicks with dicks. And even if he thought I was gay, maybe we could have related like that. You didn't have to bring me down and call me a fag or call me all these mean things. And like if you thought I was gay, you could have related with me a little bit. We could have been something, not sexually, but we could have been like, I could have talked about it. But I'm not. I'm a straight human male that is attracted to human females. But Leonardo DiCaprio, what's up? What up? Oh God, that's probably the worst way to attract a male. What up? It's a bad mating call. So I don't know. I'm done watching porn. That's my conclusion. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna try to quit masturbating, quit watching porn, and I don't know. I just feel like it's corrupt and it's kind of spiritually void, and I feel like it's energetically exhausting. I don't know. I feel bad for like all the kids that watch porn these days, that their only context to sex is this sort of over masculinized image of big cocks or anal cocks destroying teen or whatever, this kind of stuff you guys watch. What other kind of stuff is there? There's orgy, first time black orgy. There's all kinds of stuff you can watch out there, and I'm overwhelmed by all the options, and I just like I don't know, is that do I want to fast, like, okay, right, I'm happy with what I'm doing right now, talking to you guys, connecting with humans. Do I want to fast forward to 2 hours and I'm like naked in my bed watching some people get paid to have sex with each other? Sometimes that sounds okay, I guess, but I don't know. It just feels like it gives people an unrealistic expectation of what to expect out of women, because sex is a big industry. So obviously, and mostly guys are watching sex. So it's gonna be portrayed and marketed to men, packaged, marketed, and portrayed to the masculine idea of what sex is, which is sort of this very grunty, primal, animalistic, just beating your chest sort of thing. And I like that kind of stuff too, I guess, but I don't know. I feel like me mentioning this, it was triggered by my stepdad. I don't have a problem with porn, and I feel like mentioning this makes it feel like I have some kind of problem with like masturbating or something like that. Or like I just masturbated before this podcast and now I'm thinking about it. And I did. Actually, I'm just kidding. I didn't, but I should have. No, I don't know. It just is like, I don't know. And I've read some things online about these people that take on celibacy as a spiritual practice, and how sexual energy, if you think about sexual energy, how powerful sexual energy is. Apparently you can keep that in your body and harness that energy, and sort of instead of using the faucet of your penis, you can use the faucet of your creativity, or the faucet of motivation, or you can display that energy out somewhere else instead of being focusing on just desire or something. You can be building something for yourself. And I think that's just what I want to do. I want to focus on this podcast. I want to focus on making my YouTube channel something. Like, my goal is to make 100 good travel videos this year. Like good content. I want to do that, And if I'm out there trying to dick down all the women of Earth, then I'm not gonna get nothing done. And I don't know. There's something. I think there's something powerful about about taking it easy, giving yourself some love instead of trying to overwhelm yourself with a bunch of different outlets of love. Bring it home. Run back to home base instead of having all the bases filled up. Bring it back home. Relax a little bit. Work on yourself. And then when you're comfortable and you find someone that you care about, then yeah. But I don't know. I just did the PsychedSubstance podcast, And we did a couple collabs with Adam from PsychedSubstance, and I've been getting so many sexual messages. Like, I was reading the comments on Adam's videos, and there's people saying like that I seem like I'm gay for Adam, and maybe I am a little bit. I guess the energy seems a little sexually radiant, if you know what I'm saying. But nah, I don't know. But I've been getting a lot of perverted messages from people, both men and female, and I don't know. I'm a little suspicious. I don't know where it's coming from, but at least 2 people said that they saw me on Adam's channel. So shout out to Adam. You seem to be the thing that's keeping me from enlightenment. I was just talking about how I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm trying to focus on deeper things. God damn, I collab with you. I get all high. I say stupid things, and yeah. Like, for example, I was on the podcast. I don't think it's up yet. The PsychedSubstance podcast, and Adam got me so high, and I started talking about some things I shouldn't talk about, and I feel like maybe I should address it before it comes out, just so I can kind of clear the air a little bit. And I don't know, a lot of you guys might have noticed that me and Koi aren't making videos anymore, and we used to be pretty good friends, kind of, and I don't know, I was talking about Koi because Adam asked, and I was really high and feeling vulnerable, and I just wanted to be honest about my feelings. I said some things about Koi that maybe I shouldn't have said it in public, you know? And all I basically said was that it's that if you're writing a book called like How to Meditate Like a Master and Lose Your Ego in a Week or Less, that you deserve a little criticism. And also some of the stuff that you treated me in the past, I feel like I didn't like the way you treated me as a friend. You were not a good friend, and I didn't like that. So I have some personal feelings, and I also think that it's silly to deliver spirituality in such a dumb way. You're packaging spirituality, how to meditate like a master in a week or less, and you call yourself a spiritual teacher and a best-selling author. And I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's very obviously silly to make a book title like that, and very obviously like a marketing. It just seems like some cheesy marketing type of email that you would get in your spam folder or something like that. And I feel like if you're gonna be a self-proclaimed spiritual teacher, you should be able to take some criticism and some jokes. You should be able to take some jokes, I think, especially when you're charging people like $100 or $200 to email you or Skype you and stuff, you know, or selling spiritual success courses. You should be able to take some jokes because it's a little funny. I know you are good. I think you have some good things to say, Koi, but yeah, I think you should also be able to take some jokes. And I actually reached out to Koi around New Year's. I took some MDMA, and I don't know, I was feeling lovey, and I was feeling, I just wanted to get over it. You know, I've been hanging on to some anger with him, and I reached out to him, and I was like, hey, I forgive you for whatever shit we got into. I forgive you for what you did to me. I'm sorry for what I did to you. I know we both did some spiteful things for each other. That's not really, and I know like you guys are going to ask what it's about, and I don't even want to get into that because it's totally in the past, and I think it's not worth mentioning, and I don't think he's a bad person, you know. But anyways, I reached out to him in an MDMA induced coma, and I apologized, and I saw he was in India, so I offered some advice. And he actually reached out, and he was nice about it, and he said, that's cool, man. I appreciate you forgiving me, and I appreciate the love and recognition. And I offered some advice for India, which he said, yeah, please give me some advice. I would love to have some advice. I'm here in Rishikesh, so I gave the homie some advice, and then he just blocked me out of nowhere. I thought that was a little weird. So, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Ultimately, any kind of jokes or jabs that I throw at him are my own insecurities. I recognize that, but you gotta admit it's a little funny. It's a little funny. You do kind of set yourself up as an easy target, you know. And if you don't agree that it's a little funny, then maybe you should I don't know. Maybe you can go set your camera on a timer and post a picture of yourself meditating. Meditate on it. I'm a dick. I'm sorry. He's a sweetie. And I've never actually read his book or his course. So maybe I'm like missing something incredible in his book. Really can help you master meditation in a week or less. And maybe I should just buy his course, actually. See, I'm such a judgmental asshole. I just spent this whole podcast talking about how we should release our judgments and how we're all progressing socially to an environment of non-judgment and how technology is good. And look at me. Look at me using technology to just be instinctual and primal. I was just talking about getting away from masculine energy, and look at me beating my chest. Let's see what his course says. Let's check it out. I remember reading it and thinking it was a little funny, but let me look at it from an objective kind of point of view. The Spiritual Success Workshop by Vishuddha. Oh, it's on sale, actually. It's on sale for $40. It was almost $90. The long-awaited Spiritual Success webinar is now available. It's a 2-hour in-depth immersion event, and the price goes up in 48 hours. Oh, shit. Fuck. I got five. Should I buy it? 60-minute lecture on spiritual success. Okay. What exactly is spiritual success? A guide to balancing the material world, discovering how to succeed in it. Oh, my God. And what else does it say? And maintaining a deeply spiritual practice as you do. That's exactly what I want to do, because it's hard being out here in capitalism and still trying to maintain a spiritual practice. You're constantly bombarded with advertisements of people trying to sell you stuff that's not really useful for you. Or, I feel like we lack such a true identity to self that we are willing to just identify and attach ourselves to any symbols that are just given to us, whether that be Gucci or whether that be anything, all these different things that we sort of attach ourselves into this culture. So yeah, this is perfect. I would love a way to be spiritual while also living in the material world. What else you got for us? The Spiritual Success Lecture will focus on two aspects. Essentially, he will be breaking down, there's a couple typos here, breaking down how you can directly, and starting today, begin to create a successful life. So if I bought this now, I could start my successful life, either through entrepreneurship or through a job of your true passion. Oh, fuck. And this is how to make a pipe dream in a reality. And this is how he went from bussing tables from 40 hours to where he is now. To where he put where he is. But this is where he is, I think is what he meant. Where he is now. He's Vishuddha Das now. After 3 years of bussing tables for 40 hours a week. It's impressive. He has grown a lot since I met him. But the kicker, what's the kicker, is that along with this explanation in the lecture, I will be also including how to create this life you feel called towards while simultaneously having an in-depth spiritual practice that allows you to wake up each day in peace, forego the worries we are often plagued with, and gain trust in yourself. And this isn't a paid sponsorship by vishuddhadas.com. This is just an actual interest. So it's time you stopped doubting yourself. And in all honesty, this workshop isn't for everyone, but if you're ready to take the steps and that your life, if you're ready to take the path, you structure your sentences a little weird. It's hard to read them. But if you're ready to take your path and life to the next level with big plans in mind, this is for you. Underlined. Shit, boy. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it's great. I don't mean to talk shit about him. I think it's just because I know him personally, and I'm a little ego hurt by the way our friendship ended. You know, I felt like we had potential to be buds out there in the world, to be something, to make something of ourselves as a team, like Team Rocket from Pokemon. You know, I don't know. What else do I got? What else did we talk about? So I started another podcast with my friend Bhagwan Das. You guys might know him, JR Bhagwan Das, not the OG Bhagwan Das. This is a junior Bhagwan Das, JR, my friend. And we started a podcast called Satsang, where it's kind of focused on spirituality. Almost just choked on my own spit there. It sounded like a cat choking on a hairball. But it's focused on spirituality, and it's focused on, I don't know, just kind of, it's kind of nice to just bounce ideas off with someone else, whereas this podcast, I've just been doing it by myself. And I do plan on having guests, by the way. So I got a couple guests lined up, and I'm really excited about them. They're really some really interesting people that I'm excited to introduce you guys to. And yeah, we did a podcast with Duncan Trussell, which is one of my idols. I love Duncan. We did a podcast with Duncan in Hawaii just after his wedding. He got married. The next day, he was with your boy making a podcast with me. And just outside was Ram Dass. So this is like, I know it sounds like some weird dream world, but it's not. This actually happened in my life. I was in Hawaii in paradise with Duncan Trussell the day after his wedding with Ram Dass. And yeah, and with Bhagwan Das was there also. And we did this hour-long podcast with Duncan, which will be up probably up right now, actually. And it's called Satsang Podcast. And what Satsang means is, Satsang is a Sanskrit word, which means like a gathering of truth. Being in the presence of truth with other people. Like you guys are kind of discovering what it means to be true. Being with your friends that you can get spiritual with. Think about someone you can take acid with and go deep. That's maybe someone you could consider Satsang. And I was so nervous. And I was so surprised. I mean, Duncan follows me on stuff, and I'd be embarrassed if he hears me talk like this, but he's checked out my poetry. He made some joke about girls liking me. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah, I got to hang out with his wife. She's cool. Shout out to them. They just had a baby. Daddy D. Trussell, Big Daddy Duncan. Big Daddy Duncan, getting it. He had sex to make that baby. I know he did. I wasn't there. I just know that's how babies work. And I know Duncan, even though he's only got one testicle, my man can still do it. Yeah, anyway, so shout out to Duncan Trussell. You guys can watch his podcast, the Duncan Trussell Family Hour. Shout out to his new family. Shout out to Ram Dass, Baba Ram Dass. I got a picture of Ram Dass right here. You guys can see him next to that Summerland boy sticker. Shout out to Summerland again. And what else? Oh yeah, so we are officially on iTunes now and Spotify, and I will kiss all of you if you guys go leave a nice review over there and give it 5 stars. It just really helps, man. We charted 143 in the U.S. comedy podcast. I know that's not that big of a deal, but it kind of shows the potential that we have. Just from the second episode, we got into the top 150. So thank you guys so much for that. That was really cool for me. It just shows that maybe I'm onto something here. If I don't say something stupid like I just did with the Koi stuff, I just need to keep drama away from the public, Dakota, you fucking dick. But yeah, I talked about it in the CHZR podcast, so it's already out in the universe, so I had to address it. I have no hard feelings with Koi. Sorry, I don't even want to stop talking about it, but I have no hard feelings with him. Shout out to whatever name you're going by. Fuck, see, God, I always make these jabs. Vishuddha Das, my homie. Shout out to you, man. I hope one day we can reconnect. And I don't know why you blocked me. Also, Patreon. I made a Patreon again. Yes, I got my Patreon back up, and I've been uploading content on there. And if you want to listen to this podcast, A Place for Humans, a day before it's out, then head over to the Patreon and sign up on there. And you don't understand how much it helps if you do that. It helps directly with me being able to make travel videos, and it helps directly with me being able to pay for the funding to be on iTunes and Spotify and all these different places and YouTube and whatever. It really helps if you guys just want to support me. And if not, if you don't want to support me by Patreon and you want to support me in a more direct way that doesn't seem like supporting me, you can also buy a t-shirt from our other sponsor, Stay Happy, Stay Weird. You can buy a cool shirt from there. All kinds of really neat stuff. I love Stay Happy, Stay Weird. It's changed my life. That company has. So yeah, that's a couple ways you can support me. And if you buy Stay Happy, Stay Weird, it doesn't seem like you're supporting me because you kind of get a treat out of it. You know what I'm saying? And not like a little bone, but like you get an actual shirt. You get a little shirt. You know, I was just in Amsterdam, and I felt so stupid because I was like, what's that? What's their names? There's Anne Frank and Helen Keller. Yeah, I was like, you guys know where the Helen Keller house is? Can someone point me in the direction to that Helen Keller house? I just, I'm in Amsterdam. I don't want to miss my opportunity to see this this historical house. I'm interested in the Nazis. What'd they do to Helen Keller? Well, I want to see what they did to Helen Keller. But it's not Helen Keller. Helen Keller it's Anne Frank. You know how rude that is? You know how rude that is to confuse Anne Frank with Helen Keller? But fuck, man, I'm stupid. I just learned that. Amsterdam was cool. I really liked Amsterdam. I was in Palestine, and I left Palestine, which was a really heart-shattering, probably one of the most depressing places I've ever been. I cried while I was there, and I had nightmares while I was there. So I left Palestine and went directly to Amsterdam, which is like this utopia. People are smoking weed. You can there's prostitutes just walking around, and like everyone embraces it. And it's a beautiful place, literally beautiful. It's freezing, and there's parrots flying in the park, green tropical parrots. This place is not even fucking on Earth. It's crazy. And Amsterdam, but it was really weird to come from a place like Palestine to Amsterdam because it's just like a utopia. Everyone drives in the line, in a straight line. Everyone's riding bikes. It's multicultural. There's a lot of different people around. Beautiful. I loved Amsterdam. But it freaked me out. It was a culture shock. It was really culturally shocking to go from a place like India and Palestine to go to such a organized place where it just seemed like the future. So yeah, I don't know, guys. Where are we at? Oh, we're almost at an hour. So that was another episode of A Place for Humans podcast. I'll end this clip right here with the Duncan Trussell, little Duncan Trussell sneak peek, so you guys can get a little taste of, the Satsang Podcast. So yeah, here that is. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and I'll say it again, go to iTunes, give us some love. Give me some love. And, yeah, let's rip this Summerland boy one more time. Oh, shit, and you guys, I've been using this same lighter for a year. Where's my lighter at? Because I travel so much that it just stays in my room. Oh, no, where'd it go? And, yes, it's been the same lighter sitting there. Oh, no, I lost it. Boys and girls. Sorry that I seem a little sexist. Oh, it's in my pocket. Okay, so, should we do the chillum? They also gave me a chillum. Check this out. Bambole. Hara Hara Mahadev, Om Namah Shiva, Om Namah Shiva, Shiva Prasad, Hara Hara, Hara Krishna, Hare Krishna. No, I'm not going to pack this guy, but it is cool that they make these chillums, and this is all made from hand, guys, from clay. If you want to get spiritual, and if you think weed is spiritual, get it handmade with that intention, I'm being serious. I think it makes it so much better than just smoking some plastic thing or something like that, like something made from earth by another human being. It's a little expensive, but it's like something you can keep forever, and it's like a piece of art. So let's rip this one more time. Oh, I can feel the munchies from that first one. Jai Shri Ram.
This video I watched, man, did you see the video of the bear eating the dude?
No,
in India?
I never had bears in India.
I didn't either. I'm pretty sure it was fucking India. I mean, for one night, maybe that's why I went up to it, because he's like, what the fuck is that? That's a giant dog or something. Yeah, and if you were to look at your path through time...
Okay, I'm going to find my YouTube videos in like 100 years.
Well, yeah. I mean, not only are they going to find your YouTube videos, they're going to reanimate you and instill an artificial intelligence in you, and like people are going to be able to go into your YouTube videos and talk to you, fuck you, kill you, set you on fire, hang out with you, live with you, and every once in a while the reanimated version of you, because you didn't read the YouTube terms of services, you don't know what's in there, that reanimated version of you is going to be like, wow, have you tried the new McDonald's cheeseburger sauce? It's delicious. I love it. And that's what's going to happen is everyone's going to...
Imagine that when that happens, when they get rights over people's identities, like their artificial identities, and they can use it for however they want to use it.
Oh yeah, it's done. I mean, that's definitely going to happen. I mean, that's one of the really fast. What that is the telescoping implosion of the universe into itself, and that creates like an alternate reality populated by AIs of humans that used to exist that have been reanimated. Dude, I heard the best explanation of ghosts. This is great. We're going to go from like the body of Christ to coast, but I just heard like this
R.I.P.
Yes, R.I.P. This the best explanation of it. So the idea is time is not linear. It's all happening at once. Mm-hmm. And so ghosts are actually an encounter with a living thing.
Okay.
It's a dilation of time and space. So like when you're sort of encountering a thing that is actually living right now. You know, this is a really fun, in chaos magic, this is like one of a really fun, it's all thought experiments, but one of the things you could do, for example, is begin to, you know, in Buddhism it's called offering merit, and you say, you know, may all beings be happy, may all beings be peaceful, there's many versions of it. And we think of this based on linear, past, present, future. People now, future people. But you could actually extend that to the past too.
Right.
And so what you could do is just fun experiments, for example, is you could say a prayer for your person 20 seconds ago to be a little happier. And then sometimes, like right now perhaps, you feel that prayer happen because you're doing it in the future. And so when you start playing around with time in that way, then ghosts start making more sense. The idea of some disembodied fucking vapor that's pissed off floating around. I can't remember which comedian did it. It's got a great joke, which is like, why don't they go to better houses? It's a brilliant joke.
There's some hotel I can't remember the name of, but there's some room where there was like a fire and or somebody got raped or something. I don't know what it is, but the situation is something horrible happened. They don't rent it out anymore to people, but it's still in the building.
Well, yeah,
it's
fires
like
and rape, that's a huge possibility spectrum to get thrown into.
You know, I really don't know, but certainly there are places that you go to that feel sacred, like Ram Dass's house, for example.
You know where I just got back from? You know Petra in Jordan?
Yeah.
I was just exploring the Middle East, just backpacking around. That place has some sacredness to it, for sure. You seen pictures of it and stuff?
Yes.
Petra's insane.
It's amazing.
It's insane. It's like literally, the only way I can describe it is like navigating inside of a crashed alien spaceship, because you can tell that this is like the remains of like a super civilization.
Yeah.
And they just rediscovered it like, I don't know, in 1890 or something like that.
And you felt like an energetic field there?
You can feel definitely an energy. I mean, I was on acid for most of the time, but you can feel something there.
Yeah, I
did
did
that.
that.
Walking back in time.
I do that acid thing too, and I always catch myself doing it where, like, in a weird way, I almost feel like, well, I was on acid, so, you know, probably bullshit, and it's good. You're a good scientist to admit that, but sometimes I think, shit, man, that almost, like, makes it more valid. So we think of the church as the body of Christ, or we think of the Satsang as the body of Maharaji, or however you want to put it, and then you imagine that, like, Christ is being crucified right now. And then you imagine that you can be part of the love field that was enveloping him in that moment as he was in a very excruciating situation, you know. And it's really sweet to imagine that in the same way that these beings help us, we can help them too. It's a reciprocal relationship. Something really quite beautiful and grim about an octopus mother has babies and then allows the babies to feed on her and eat her. And that happens with certain insects too, where like the mother becomes the nutrients for the babies. And so you look at this sort of proliferation of the being genetically through time, and it actually becomes the nutrients of its next, of it moving through time.
Yeah, that's the same thing as us. We're the reincarnation of our ancestors, and our instincts and stuff like that are literally glimpses into our past lives.
Oh, and what could be better than being eaten by God? It's like, it's so wonderful to, because that means you're going to assimilate with the divine. That means that you're in a assimilatory process where you're being absorbed into the circulatory system and respiratory mechanisms of some incredible infinite being of which we're all a part. And I love that. That's beautiful. And looking that in the eye. Thank you, man. Cheers. Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
Safe travels. I can't wait to hear about the trip.